Was it back when you were playing with these bands in middle school and high school that you decided you wanted to make a career out of music, or when did that all come to be, that, you know, this is my thing, this is what I'm going to do?
You know, basically that was it. You know, high school pretty much sealed the deal for me. You know, it put the icing on the cake. You know, after opening up for a few acts that we actually looked up to, you know, being an opening band. And you know, I was always athletic through my years of schooling. I really dug sports, but it just always seemed to me, you know, that music was my calling. You know, from just watching my dad do it, you know, from just being in diapers to now. I mean, he's still jamming, but I just wanted to take it to another level, you know.
Your dad was a musician?
Yep. He was in 80 hair metal bands for years.
Oh, neat.
So that's kind of where I got my roots from. So
how did you power through the slump when it, you know, when it feels like, Jesus, what the hell am I doing? You know, is this really a dream worth pursuing? How'd you get through that and have it finally work out?
You know, I've been a firm believer of, you know, of why do you keep going back and chasing, you know? And it's always been that thing, no matter what. I just kept, you know, believing and just, you know, having faith in it, you know. And sure, yeah, it gets really tough. I mean, there's been a handful of times I'm like, I'm done. You know, like, screw this, you know. And you do go through that mental game, you know, of, is this really going to work out? Is this going to pan out? You know, because you have lots of people that tell you, oh, you're never going to do it. It's like throwing a needle in a haystack and going in and finding it, you know.
Right.
And I feel like if you know you have the talent, and so does other people, then push for it, you know. You're never going to know if you don't try. And so I just I kind of continued with it, you know, and just gave it my all. And just, you know, one of the things that my dad and my uncle always said is, you know, don't keep your eggs in one basket, just kind of bounce around and get yourself out there, you know. And that's kind of what I did. You know, I'd stick with the band if it had, you know, some good ground to it. You know, I'd see what happened with it. And, you know, throughout the course of the years, just, you know, everything came unglued for me to be in the position that I'm in now. So, I mean, it is tough, and it's not for everybody, just like a lot of other things. But I believe if you keep continuing doing what you do and what you enjoy doing, you'll eventually get where you need to go. You know, things will pan out in the end.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been proven to me now. You know, there was a point where I just like, you know, maybe everybody's right, you know, but I was proved wrong too.
Right. What tips or suggestions would you have for, you know, let's say kids or teenagers that, you know, their passion is music. They love, right, you know, playing, and they want to make a go of it. What would you tell them?
You know, the biggest influence that I have is not only for the kids but the parents. You know, if you see your child, you know, have dreams and have talent in something, you should always push them to do what they want to do. And you kind of got to watch that, though. You know, kids, you know, get sporadic and change their minds time to time, but there's always one thing that they'll always follow and keep going. And so I encourage all the parents to push their kids as hard as they can too, if they see, you know, future in something. And now, as far as kids go, schooling, just practice and practice and practice. And that's another thing for parents is, you know, to better your children's music ingenuity is to put them through schooling, you know, Berkeley, you know, in college. I mean, you're going to know everything. You're going to know how to read music. You're going to be taught by the best, and you're going to be a music machine, you know. And that's what I didn't do. After high school, I just, you know, just really hammered down with music, and, you know, then I became a tattoo artist for a few years, and then I just kind of hung that up and just really started putting all my time and energy towards music and just trying to get there to that point. So that's the biggest thing is, you know, to all the kids out there, if you really have a passion for music, do everything that you can to teach yourself everything that there is to know about the music industry. And that's one thing that I wish I did do, but being able to be in the industry and see what's going on, I can now gather all this information for other people to, you know, send their way so they can use it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now that you've done a couple big tours, what have you found that's different from what you thought it'd be?
You know, when I first got going with the guys in Shamans, you know, you always have your nerves, you know, getting you before you go on stage. It just always happens. It's inevitable. I feel like if you don't feel a little bit of nervousness before you go on, you just don't have it anymore, you know. It's kind of something that you look forward to.
Right.
But I noticed my anxiety spiking quite a bit getting into the bigger shows. You know, I played Rocktoberfest up in Wisconsin for my first show in Franklinville. And, you know, it was 48 degrees. It was gloomy all day, but for some reason, of course, when we go on stage, it starts raining. The whole set, it's raining, and it's 48 degrees. Freezing my balls off, and I'm in a tank top. But, you know, we ended up continuing on the show, and we made it through. But I still was dealing with that anxiety and just trying to, you know, tell myself, you know, like, what am I going to do to get over this, like, feeling, like, not feeling antsy, you know, through the whole set, you know? What can I do to reverse that energy and just make it mine? And you know, our second show was with our good buddies in Theory of a Dead Man. And I couldn't figure out what I could do to teach myself to calm that anxiety. And I finally came to the realization about 15 minutes before going on, actually, that I was like, okay, the crowd is here for us. We're not there for the crowd. I mean, we are there for the crowd because we love and appreciate our fans, but they're there to come see us. So, you know, I was just like trying to figure out a way to get a reaction from the crowd just to turn it on a little bit. And when I walked out the front and to go behind my kit, I just kind of threw my hand out, and to hear the crowd light up like they did, that just changed the game for me. So, you know, that'd probably be the biggest thing, is just overcoming that anxiety and just turning into a good energy, you know, amongst the crowd and your fans. So that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Is life on the road everything you thought it'd be?
It's yeah, yes and no. You know, finally getting into a band that, you know, has humbling individuals just like yourself, you know, is the biggest thing. You don't have one person that's always containing that rock star attitude and treating you like shit, you know, because you do run into that. You know, there are hired guns, and that's all you are. But the guys in the band, you know, I studied my oats, and, you know, I proved myself, you know, my loyalty to them, and paid my dues, and they brought me in as their brother, you know, and that's part of it. You know, if you want to be a serious musician, get into a field this way, you got to prove to them, you know, you got to work hard, and you're going to take some beatings, and you just get back up and just keep going.
All right, so if you could give one message to the world, say plastered on a billboard or whatever, what would you tell people?
You know, the best piece of advice that I have for musicians is, you know, play as much as you can, and don't be afraid to learn different techniques and styles. You know, that's what's going to make you versatile. But don't stress yourself if something doesn't fall into place. You know, practice makes you good, not perfect. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be the very best player out there, just be the best that you can be. Mm-hmm. So that's my little message I would send out to everybody.
All right. Great. Well, I appreciate you taking time to talk with me, and let's get back to shooting ducks.
Anytime, man. Let's do it.
All right.